Hey all, today I'm going to be going over all of the features that come with the research subscription package. So we'll get started with the newsfeed here. This newsfeed updates every 30 seconds and it pulls roughly 50,000 articles a day. It pulls this from a large variety of different sources, which you can filter through in here. You can also blacklist sources in here. And what this feed really excels at is it excels at taking a ticker and providing news for that ticker. And you can adjust the noise levels here. So something like NVIDIA, where NVIDIA is part of SPY, a lot more news is going to pop up for it because a lot of things are going to affect the stock price. We built this using a knowledge graph. So NVIDIA is connected to a lot of things, right? There's a lot of companies trying to work with NVIDIA. There's a lot of companies that use NVIDIA that publish articles about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is going to get a lot of noise. You can reduce that to see just things specific to NVIDIA. Something where you might want more noise, we'll use Cameco as an example. Here you get basically a nuclear newsfeed because Cameco is a nuclear company. It's related to uranium and nuclear. So anything that's going to relate to that is going to pop up in this newsfeed here. If you want to see things specifically where Cameco is like a primary part of the article, you can reduce it to some noise. And then if you want to reduce it even further, you can see things where the article is specifically about Cameco. You can also attach your watch list in here. So go ahead and open this watch list here, just so you can see it. This is just an example watch list I made for the video, and it has a bunch of large stocks and then these two ETFs here. So we'll go ahead and sort by that. And then we have it set to reduce all noise, so you're only going to see news specifically related to things in this watch list. So NVIDIA, Apple, SanDisk. Additionally, you can filter by these categories and catalysts. I'll be honest, these catalyst and category filters are not the best, but if we remove our watch list here, and we select something like lithium battery, apply that. So you see Pentagon scrapes 300 million lithium tender for defense stockpile. We see CATL's Jiangsu lithium mine remains closed. We see Albemarle's quarterly profit surges on rising lithium prices. So that's kind of what this category and catalyst filter is designed to do. If you want to filter by earnings more specifically, the thing to do is to go into your keyword search and type in earnings. So now you're going to get things where earnings are in the title. Griffin Insider sold into earnings, Oscar Health Q2 earnings, Ormat Technologies Q2 earnings. So you're going to get all these earnings articles here. I hope that gives a okay picture of what this is capable of doing. One of the other ways that you can make use of this is if you go to our equity screener and you filter by largest changes per day, you can go in here and you can click these things that are changing and it'll pull up a newsfeed for that. So Quinn Street shares jumped 27% after hours on Q4 earnings beat. So there you go. That's why it's up so much. I think that's it's quite useful for doing that. If you do something like this, we'll sort this by the semiconductor ETF, and you can click why is microchip up 10% today. Let's find out. Reduce all noise. Quarterly beat. So there you go. One other thing you can do with this newsfeed, which I'll talk about a little bit more, is you can set up an alert system to message you on Discord when anything on your watch list receives news. And you can filter by these same parameters. So you can reduce some noise, reduce all noise, or display all matching news for that ticker. And again, I'll discuss that a little bit more later. Let's move on to our company filings item. This pulls up all of the reports that Apple files to the SEC. I'm just going to use Apple as an example for this. And then in here, you can select these tables. So their balance sheet table. You can click previous filing. And this will bring it up as a comparison of Apple's last 10Q filing versus their previous 10Q filing, and you can very quickly and easily compare the numbers here. Additionally, you can add companies in here. So we'll go ahead and add Microsoft. So now we have Microsoft's last two 10Q filings, and then the numbers that they also have in those tables compared to the numbers Apple has in those tables. You can very quickly and easily compare those as well. So you can see Microsoft's inventories are a lot smaller than Apple's, which of course is expected since they're a software company, and Apple is well, I guess it's both a software and a hardware company, but they sell a lot more hardware, so they'll have a lot more inventory. You can do this for any of the tables that you see here. You can also do it for any filing that you want in here as well. To go with this, we have this financial table as well. So right now we're looking at Apple again, and you can compare Apple's current quarter to their prior quarter last year. So how it compares exactly to the quarter last year. The previous one we were looking at quarter versus quarter. You can also look at quarter versus year in the lesson if you want. You can look at any filing comparison. But this one just gives you a quick and easy view for prior year quarter versus this quarter, and current year to date versus the prior year to date. Right now it's set to the June period, which I guess is their Q2, I believe. And of course this was filed at the end of the month. So if we look at the number here, see their services number, for example, versus 27,000 last year for the same quarter. And we can go and find that here, and we can see, yes, it is in fact 27,000 versus 24,000, the prior year quarter for that as well. And you can do this, go back to our initial one here, for their income, for their balance sheet, for their cash flow, equity, and then a comprehensive overview, which is also a table, by the way. We don't construct this, it's a table in the filing, this comprehensive view. So you can do this for other companies as well. There's some quick click over ones here. You can search any company you want up here, just for the sake of the video. Go ahead and use Amazon to get that same view that you had for Apple. You can see their net service sales. This quarter has fallen off compared to how they were performing last year. Same with their total net sales, their net product sales as well. So that's not great for Amazon. And you can do that same comparison that we just did for Apple, for everything as well. And then if you click here, you can open the raw filing that this is relating to, and see all of the individual tables in here as well. Okay, let's move on to our institutional holdings. And in here, we have NPORT and 13F filings. For the NPORTs, we go back 3 years. For the 13F filings, we go back about 15 years. And in here, this is just a grouped thing. So if you want to see the video, for example, search in here. This is the value that NPORT funds are holding in July. One thing to know about NPORT funds, they don't submit on the same schedule as 13F filings. So you can see the number of funds changes here. It's just kind of whatever ones are able to pull that month in the NPORT filings. Now, NPORT filings, in my opinion, are most useful for this. You look in the funds here, and if you're building a dividend portfolio, or you're building a high growth portfolio, or anything like that, you want to add diversity to your portfolio, you can come and see what these funds are doing. So we'll have a look at the BlackRock Equity Dividend Fund. This is the same one that I looked at in our other video. So look at this one again. FedEx has the highest change in value versus their previous filing. So they've added 401 million in this. And if you want to see what they're dropping Becton, Dickinson, and Co. This is really good for building a dividend portfolio. If you can go and look through all of these things, you can see what these different funds are doing. These different dividend funds are doing for their dividend portfolios, and then you can take it and apply it to your dividend portfolio. The rotations for the NPORT stuff is also not that interesting, just because a lot of funds will stay within the same sectors. Like there's a real estate fund, they're going to be buying real estate stuff again. There's a technology fund, they're going to be buying technology stuff again. So this is maybe not the most interesting thing, but if you look at the 13F filings, this rotations table gets really interesting. These funds change their portfolios a lot. They invest in what's popular, they invest in what's hot, and they drop what's not. So technology, you can see the weight difference here. Of course, this is not a complete quarter yet, because funds still have another week to submit their 13F filings for Q2. So look at Q1, just because it gives a bit of a better example. You can see by value, of course, technology is the highest. Unknown, this is a lot of other stuff. This is like bonds and fixed income portfolios and some ETFs that aren't sector based. These get thrown into here. And then you have your financial services, healthcare, etc. all the way down. You can see the weight change, energy gained a lot, the change in value, energy of course gained the most, and technology was dropped the most. So if you want to see what specifically is being gained and dropped, you can click in and view that in here as well. So these are best looked at by share count changes, because stock appreciation is going to affect that as well. So Total Energies SE got a ton of shares added to it. Again, you have to extrapolate a little bit, because the value change for this isn't huge. This company probably is not that large. I mean, we can check, we can go TTE, DES, and see exactly what it is, but we won't do that in this video. And then the things that changed in value the most, of course, ExxonMobil, which again, you can go XOM, GP, and you can see the chart for that if you want to see that throughout the last quarter. Again, this is for Q1. So if you're looking to diversify your portfolio, this is pretty good to look at to see what funds are buying, what funds are selling. And you can also look at the individual funds as well. So we'll go by value for this. BlackRock was the largest fund last quarter, not Q2, Q1. One more thing to quickly show, we have data through all of these years here. So all the way back to 2006, we have 20 years of financial data for you to view in here. So looking at BlackRock's portfolio, the largest change in value was Wells Fargo. The largest drop in value was Microsoft. If you want to see if it's really changing, because I mean you can see the share count differences here. They dropped about 8 million shares of Microsoft. They dropped 18 million shares of Nvidia, which is really a drop in the bucket to the 1.9 billion that these guys control. If you want to see what they're, again, they're adding the most of, these share changes, is Wells Fargo. So they added a ton of Wells Fargo. And then they dropped a ton of Ford. So there you go. This is, once again, most useful for helping you build a portfolio, helping you find things to add to your portfolio, ways to diversify your portfolio, and see kind of how funds set up their portfolios so that you can try and mimic it to some degree. We have a ton of fund managers in here. This grouped one is not too useful. It just shows you what's held the most across all of the different funds if you sort by value. So Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, SPY, basic what you would expect. I will note though that this is really tech heavy. And these funds are quite tech heavy right now, which you can see in the rotations table. And they look like they're going to be even more tech heavy in Q2. So that'll be interesting to see as that comes out the next week. The last tool to display here is the notification bot. I just got a notification. It's 6:07 right now, so this came in 7 minutes ago, reminding me that Archer's earnings tomorrow. They have an EPS forecast of negative 0.25 and a revenue forecast of 1.9. I know personally I don't keep track of this that well, so this is really helpful for me for that. And what you get with the subscription package is you get the news, the earnings, and this Catalyst one. The dark pools and the unusual options one is free. You can register yourself with the Discord bot to receive those alerts, even if you are not subscribed to anything. But this news feed, these economic events, it's a bit pushed through because I was doing some testing, but you can see CCJ news, this one which is about Apple and Micron, and you can adjust the news feed by the same filters that you could before. In here you can see all of the different commands that are available to you. With that, you can see the testing commands to make sure that your catalysts go through correctly, and then remove commands as well to get rid of alerts for these three things that you gain access to with the subscription package. So we'll go ahead and do this. I already have Apple registered. Set up Amazon. Just like that, we're now set up to receive news alerts for Amazon starting now. So any new news that comes in for Amazon that specifically mentions Amazon, I have reduced all noise on. So anything where Amazon's the primary topic of the article, that will come through here, and I'll receive alerts for that. This is a really cool tool. It's really good for keeping up to date with everything that's going on. If you have a portfolio that you manage quite actively, and you want to manage it around earnings times, or you want to verify that you want to hold through earnings, you can make sure you don't miss alerts for that by setting up your earnings reports here, or your earnings alerts here. And these catalysts, these are economic event catalysts. So if you go on the website and go to Eco, you can see all of the upcoming economic event catalysts. So you can see in here, for example, the unemployment rate numbers came in this week, 4.1% versus the forecast at 4.2%. This is predicted to have a large impact if it goes south, so you would receive an alert for this so that you know this is coming. So I hope all of these tools prove useful to you. I hope you're able to get value out of them, and good luck with your trading all. Thanks for watching.